Let's stay with this very concerning subject around municipalities and look at also the implications, because some of these municipalities are not only witnessing the killing of councillors, they're in dire financial straits, but they also don't have municipal managers, and others, municipal managers, do not have very little to no qualifications. These, of course, are crucial positions. So what impact does it have on the running of the municipalities? Let's speak to Municipal IQ MD, Allan. Kevin, thank you so much for your time. Let's start with what we've just heard. The killing of councillors continues. What impact also does this have on the functions of the municipalities, and why does it continue in your view?
Well, the killing of municipal councillors is absolutely unacceptable, and it's a problem that really has to be resolved. It's been going on for a number of years now. A lot of it is inter-party conflict, very localized conflict within a ward. A number of competing candidates for a ward position have been found guilty of murdering a competitor, and it's unacceptable. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. But the key problem here is this kind of behavior can carry on because there isn't adequate policing of this issue, especially in a province like KwaZulu-Natal. A lot of these areas are rural municipalities, smaller municipalities, and it's when there's a void of policing, that's when criminal behaviour such as this can take place and take a grip on a municipality. So we are very opposed to it. We've been calling for the South African Police Service to take a more active role. I really do think now we need a coordinated approach to this, and it's the onus is on SAPS to step up here.
And it's not the only challenge that is faced by municipalities. I mean, we even hear from Salga that, that there's also some who are operating without managers. Others, municipal managers, have very little to no qualifications at all. And this is a key administrative function and could have very dire consequences then in this particular regard for municipalities.
Yes, absolutely. The Auditor General, in her report a couple of months ago, critical report in the environment, found that I think it was a third of municipalities are sitting without a municipal manager, and 22% of municipalities are sitting without a chief financial officer. Now, the third of municipalities, that's up from 15% in the last financial cycle. And then to add to that, I mean, I think that's a really worrying stat myself. But to add to that, it's well known that almost 50% of municipal officials across the board do not meet minimum competency requirements as set by government. So you can see there, if senior municipal positions are not filled, then they are being filled in 50% of cases by people who are not qualified to do the job. Now, that, when I tell you that, then you must understand that this is one of the driving factors, the driving forces behind failure and crisis in municipalities. Now, this again has to be resolved. It has to be addressed full on by national government in the first instance, and it really has to be taken more seriously. I am very concerned about this.
And when you think about it, Kevin, it's that we keep hearing these very adverse audit findings each and every single year from the Auditor General, particularly when it comes to municipalities. And if such key functions are not being done by people who should be occupying these particular positions, it then shouldn't be a surprise that we see them not being able to read financial statements and actually tell us what is going on there or even interpret them. So it means then that the picture when it comes to some of these audit outcomes is not likely to change unless something drastic happens here.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's a really good point. And, the Auditor General also found, just to support your point with some evidence, that whereas a third of municipalities don't have a municipal manager in place, that rockets up to 50% of municipalities that have had an audit disclaimer. So we can see clear evidence that when there aren't senior managers in place, then that's when the real trouble arises in municipalities. and we really have to resolve it. It's really important. Now, honestly, I can say, in my opinion, there are qualified experts in this area. They are just not being appointed to municipalities. Now, the salaries, I mean, there's a feeling, or there's a sense broadly among some quarters, that municipal managers are not well paid. We know at Municipal IQ from research we've done that in all municipalities, especially in smaller local municipalities, municipal officials far out-earn other local professionals in these towns, smaller towns and rural areas. And that is the case in many cases in metros as well. So it's not for want of a good salary, but we see time and time again the wrong people being appointed in these positions. Now that really has to change. We talk about professionalizing the municipal sector, but that really isn't happening yet.
And when we talk about, of course, some of the issues around salaries and all of that, we had the Premier of the Northern Cape just a few weeks ago talk to us about how difficult it is to sometimes attract the required skills because they do not want to go into smaller provinces or smaller towns in order to be able to work there and make a difference. But I also wonder, how much of politics are we also seeing as, something that is also repelling these particular individuals who are skilled and qualified from taking up these positions?
Absolutely. We see there are many cases of smaller municipalities, in municipalities that are reasonably well run, that are attracting competent staff. But nobody wants to go and work in a crisis-ridden organization which is failing. Nobody wants to go and work in that environment. So, that is a pertinent issue. But I would really question, in many cases, whether municipalities, this reason given within government many times that they cannot attract competent staff. I really do think there are competent staff in these environments. There are lots of people in, smaller municipalities who have qualifications. There are people who would come and work in these municipalities, firstly, if the factors were more conducive to a professional environment, but secondly, if these people stood a chance of being appointed. I really do think that the primary issue here is that the wrong people are being appointed into these positions. It's not always overtly political. It is often political, and we still do have a situation where, the municipal council and the mayor, those are the bodies that appoint a municipal manager. And we'll see in many cases where the municipal council and the mayor act in a biased way. They appoint their friends, their relatives, they appoint people who aren't qualified but are politically connected to them, and that is still happening. So until that ends, we are not going to change the situation. And, again, national government has to step in. That they have to be stricter about the people who are being appointed, even around the prescribed minimum competency level set by government. These are not onerous. They are really minimum requirements for a professional in an organization. And, many people could meet these requirements. For a municipal manager, a postgraduate certificate, and 5 years of senior managerial experience. I mean, there are 257 people out there to fill every single one of our 257 municipalities.
All right, Kevin, quite a lot to talk about there. And of course, this is an issue that, really we need to keep our finger on, especially when it comes to the functioning of municipalities and, vis-a-vis service delivery. That was Municipal IQ MD Kevin Allan.